selling is the most important role in every organization. If you look at your financials, revenue is right up there on top, and nothing happens inside of an organization. No other position inside your organization is even required until there are sales in place. And so revenue is number one. And you're in business to not just make revenue, but to create customers. Because in some ways, getting revenue is easy enough. If you're willing to discount, if you're willing to throw it up against the wall and see what sticks, if you're willing to just sort of, do a haphazard approach, it's not that hard to get revenue. But what's really hard is to get good revenue, the kind of revenue that comes from an ideal customer base, the kind of revenue that comes from understanding exactly what it is that you're doing, exactly who it is that you're serving, and putting a team in place who has the ability to facilitate business with those ideal customers. And so that's number one. Number one is it's time to understand that the salespeople in your organization are seriously the most important people inside your organization. So it's time to stop looking down our noses at sales people. They're the only people who have skin in the game. And it's important. I mean, these are people who are like the warriors of the old days, like knights in the old days. Their life depends upon it. Their livelihood depends upon it. Sure, you're supplementing them with a base salary, but the majority of what salespeople make come in the way of commissions and bonuses, and that's fine. But let's not make them, less than for that. We've got to hold them up in very high esteem and say, gosh, we're essentially bankrolling the company with these folks. So if that's the case, and we no longer marginalize salespeople, we no longer think of them as sort of a thing I have to have, but these are the most important parts, the most important people in my organization. Nothing happens until these people get it right. Well, now I've got to place a very high degree of importance. You have to place a very high degree of importance on getting it right. So the second thing that needs to be challenged and changed is the idea that we don't know what right is. Well, you need to know what right is. It's really important to understand what right is, and there is a methodology for understanding that, and that's the methodology that we've put in place for our clients, where we go in and we do a full evaluation of their entire sales organization, and we show them a roadmap to achievement. We show them essentially what's at stake, and usually that's in the multi-millions of dollars, with a laundry list of things that, if they tackled those things over the course of the next 12 to 24 months, they're going to be able to realize that potential. But there's more than that, because that's just working with what's inside your organization. And that's redeploying people who need to be in different roles or different places, and some of those people ought not be with the company, or maybe they should be in another department in the company or inside another function in the company. Sales is the only place that I will tell you that you cannot hire for attitude first and train them on skills. You've got to hire salespeople who have the right skills to do the job. Much like I would argue, much like your CFO. If you hired a great CFO with a great attitude, but he didn't or she didn't have the skills and the acumen to do the job of a chief financial officer, you'd be in pretty sorry shape. Well, the same is true with your sales people. You may be able to hire for attitude and train for skills in some of your other positions. It makes sense that you would, but if that's the rule you're using for your salespeople, and every one of your salespeople is not at goal, there's a reason why, and that's part of it. So this deep dive evaluation will not only give you the understanding numerically, right, the opportunity number financially of what's possible if you follow this roadmap. But the roadmap itself will lead you to the revenue potential that you've always wanted. You'll now be able to understand, peel back the layer of the onion in the organization and say, oh, that makes sense now. You know, here's what we need to do in terms of infrastructure, and here's what we need to do in terms of sales architecture, and here's what we need to do in terms of our recruitment strategy. And these are all of the things we need to do in terms of our overall strategy. And this is what we need to do in terms of our human resources support. And this is what we need to do for leadership and for management. And all of that becomes math. It becomes a process. It becomes an actual real plan that can be systematized and stepped out and thought through and accomplished one after the other after the other.